Hello, how on earth are we today? I apologise for the slightly longer than usual intro. Hello, Eurydice. You're one I can always count on to arrive for these. Got myself some nice tea. Hello, my dear. I've got water. I've got books. I haven't turned on the captions, many thanks. Turn on. There we are. Now they should be functioning adequately. We can go to the live scene, but I don't believe it's realistically needed for today. Or at least not for a while. Lovely. One moment, I need to move that wire a touch. Come here. There we go. Much better. Navigate to be function addict. Addict, but still. Right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 submitted for today's readings, and then I will be taking others. We shall be doing things such as Raven by Edgar Allan Poe, for obvious reasons. I had a few others open as well. There we are. It's ever so nice. Anyway, of the ones that were submitted, we've got one submitted by our dear Ivan, who is very eager. We've got one submitted by our dear moderator Fel, who will be back in 10 minutes. We've got another submitted by Fel, and one submitted by Ardy. And I'm fairly certain that's one he wrote himself, though I also believe that it's a song, so it'll have a different flow. Agoraphobic was on your request. That was more of a, if you put it in, I'll read it. I was trying to come up with one, but I was having a brain fart. As in, write one yourself, or choose one to submit. Because we will still have time for not so much submitted as requested. Like if someone says, for instance, the bells, I'll do that, but I'll hate myself while doing it. Because that one, oh, it hurts to read. I might just do anyway though. It's a laugh. The bells, 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 indeed. Right, so we will start off with Ivan's submission entitled High Flight by John Gillespie McGee. I don't actually know if that's... I feel like Mickey is just a Mickey tag name, to be fair, but I didn't fact check. I probably should have. Paste. There's a good song on the bells. Oh, I bet there probably is, actually. Hello, Rabbit, how are you? My word, his last name really was McGee. How intriguing. Anyway, plenty enough stalling. Oh, I have slipped the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter, silver eyes. Silver wings. Quite why I went with eyes, I don't know. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-spilt clouds, and done 100 things you have done that you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence, hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footloose halls of air. Up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the wind-swept heights with easy grace, where never lark or even eagle flew, and while with silent lifting mind I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God. That one, as I say, was high flight. I'm actually curious as to when that one was, because that's lovely. Very short one. High Flight National Poetry Day. It doesn't have a date with it. Early Life, World War II, Red Light Dash, High Flight. There it is. At the Library of Congress in February 1942. And the manuscript of the poem remains in the Library of Congress. That's actually lovely. I always like knowing that the originals are kept somewhere. That's quite. I need to make sure I at least have this nearby. Most of those can go away. But I need to be ensured that if needs be, I can quickly send a very short message. Our next one we shall do is submitted by our dear Fell, whom I shall very much say didn't include the author, nor when it was written either. Also, as I say, when I am done with these, would you lot rather we continue from books or continue with whatever we find online? Because I'm quite happy to do either. And if you do have tea, do not forget to drink. I'm having apple roseship raspberry ripple from the English tea shop. I got a small taster set for Christmas, and I'm slowly working my way through a few of them. They're ever so fruity. Alright, she isn't quite ready for that one read yet. So we shall do... Actually, let's go do Artie's. And that one is entitled Pedals on the Right. Now, I read through all of these before tonight, effectively, before I'd have to read them, and I'm not sure what pacing to do for this one. So it's very much the winging it. There we are. As I say again, this is very much one written by himself. No place to be but your route. Who's to say just where? I could tell you all about why my car is red. I look in the rearview mirror even when I'm relaxed. I hate going so fucking slow. My patience is dead. Show some damn urgency. I'm pissed with white knuckles tight. Stuck and have nowhere to see. Fucking pedals on the right. Late to see my team. We bout to have a shit show. Makes me fucking scream. Put the hammer down. It seems they ain't moving. About to give a reason to. What are you doing? You're a fucking clown. Any car can do it. The limit's 45. There's fucking nothing to it. You just have to drive. So, again, that one has very odd pacing. And I feel like it's far more of the lyrical side rather than poetical. I could see that being yelled while being sung with, say, a metal band or heavy rock, something to that effect, but it doesn't feel right the way I was doing there. Yet, some of it just felt like it didn't flow right. And I'm not sure what else to say on that. I will say it's quite evocative, though. Like, there's no hesitation as to the emotion or anything to that effect. Since you have returned, we shall continue with Snowfoot of Author Unknown. Snowfoot, Snowfoot, return to me today, silently walking, quietly stalking, hunting for your prey. Padfoot, snow ghost, through the shadows roam, a glint in the eyes, through the unbrushed flies, forgetting about your home. Lightfoot, Silentfoot, naught but their shadowy blur. From the shadows you spring upon broken wing, sharp claws sticking out from your fur. Stained foot, bloody claw, no longer stalking your prey. No longer you roam as you return home, the home where you choose to stay. Soft foot, gentle foot, speak not of what did transpire, as I give a pat to my adorable cat, sleeping in front of the fire. So I've got to say, I read through this, again, as I said with all the others, before reading it out, and it didn't flow as elegantly as that. I've got to actually... Yeah, that was fun. I like it. Again, with the whole author unknown and no date as to when it was written, it's all speculative, but it's reminiscent to quite a few of the 60s, 50s kind of authors, where they were slightly spoken more elegantly than we are today, yet it's very much clearly our spoken English as of at this point. It's got much nicer rhythm, it's got a decent flow, and it very happily revisits the same theme. Oh, I like that, that's good. So that is 3 out of our 4, now to Agoraphobic, written by no other but Corpse Husband. If you do not know who this man is, he is, if I remember correctly, a 24-year-old with a severe acid reflux type condition that keeps getting stomach acid into his vocal cords. He has one of the most mesmerizing, I suppose, voices that I have heard in living history. And he thoroughly enjoys making music. If you do enjoy the gruff voice, I highly recommend you search him. I will not do this at his pace, and I am physically unable to do it at his tone as well. Yeah, hey. 'Cause I can't do shit right. I can't learn my lesson. I can't do shit right. Take antidepressants. Illness and welfare robbed my adolescence. My friends probably hate me and can't answer a message. Filled with anxiety, always be hiding me. Feeling inadequate's always what's driving me. Not a role model, that's not what I strive to be. Yet can't go outside, I'm afraid they'd be finding me. Paranoid about my privacy, yeah. And they always asking questions about my face, can't relate. Fucking caught my own reflection, broke a mirror the other day. Oh, sorry. My throat's bugging me. Got a lot of bad shit, but I'm not talking. Sorry. Got a lot of bad shit I'm taking to my grave. Got a fucking date with death on my. On house arrest till trial date. So I grab the wet red wine and rainy days, and then I pour it. 'Cause I'll age another fucking 1,000 days before I know it. Yeah. I spend them all inside, waste my time while I'm scrolling. But I love when it rains 'cause I'm agoraphobic. Alright, be easy. This is the last one you'll get. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. What's the point? I'm not okay. What's the point? I'm not okay. This shit is fucking difficult. I will absolutely preface that I do not do that justice at all. There is no way in hell that I could do it at, again, either his pace or his tone. I cannot hit the octave that he strikes for the entirety. Once more, if you do wish to listen to that one, it is on both Spotify and YouTube, and is agoraphobic. I highly recommend it. So as I read the Raven, do think as to what you would like read once we have finished the ones I've prearranged. Also, as ever, Eurydice, I do adore that little hype emote that you have there. It's ever so sweet. Now to see how much of this I actually just remember. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, "tapping at my chamber door." Only this and nothing more. Distinctly I remember it was a bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my books Circus of Sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore. For the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore, nameless here forevermore. The sulken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with a fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entering entrance at my chamber door. Some late visitor entering entrance at my chamber door. That is it. That it is, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door, darkness there, and nothing more. Deep into the darkness peering, long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, "Lenore." This I whispered, and the echo murmured back the word, "Lenore." Merely this, and nothing more. Back into the chamber, turning, all my soul within me burning, soon again I heard the tapping, somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see, then, what that is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more." Open here I flung the shutter, when with many a flirt and flutter in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mien of lord and lady perched above my chamber door, perched upon the bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the conscience is war. Thought thy crest be shone and shaven, thou, I said, art sure no craven. Ghastly grin of ancient raven wandering from the nightly shore, tell me what thy lordly name is on that night's Platanon shore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Much I marvelled this unguiling fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevance bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door. Bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, which such name as nevermore. But the raven sitting lonely on the placid bust spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour, nothing farther than he uttered. Not a feather then he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, my hopes have flown before. Then the raven said, nevermore. Startled at this stillness broken, he reply so aptly spoken, doubtless, said I, when it utters it, is its only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master, whom unmercifully disaster followed fast and followed faster, till this song one burden bore. Hello, Russian. Till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore, of nevermore. But the raven still beguiling all my fancy into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of the bird, bust and door. Then open the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant by croaking nevermore. This I sat engaged in guessing, but no symbol expressing to this fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining, that the lamplight gloated o'er, but whose velvet violet lining with that lamplight gloating o'er she shall press, nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim, whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee, respite, and nepenthe from the memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff, this kind nymph. I genuinely struggle with nepenthe and forget this lost Lenore, quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempter sent, or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, disloyed, yet all undaunted, on this desert land, enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I am poor. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by that heaven that bends above us, by the God we both adore, tell this soul with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aidenn, it shall clasp a sainted maiden, whom the angels named Lenore, clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Be that word out sight, or parting bird, or friend, fiend, I shrieked, upstanding, get thee back into the tempest and the night's platinum shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken, quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting, on the pallid bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, and his eyes have all the seeing of demons that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor. My soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore. I actually struggled at parts I don't usually struggle at. My apologies on that one. I know I was a little quick on that. I can't help but get into a little bit of a rhythm with it at the beginning. I enjoy it. Terribly sorry. Oh, I can send that to you now, don't worry. To just you. Very interesting. Next is quite happily a surprise to you folks. This one entitled Bawdry Embraced. And I hope I can actually zoom in a touch on this because it's very small. Ah, yes, that's better. One moment. Alright, that should hopefully aid just a touch. So this one is written by Ted Hughes, who I believe was quite famous, or at least was writing during the 80s, I think. Nope, my apologies. This one was written in August 1956. Great farmy whores, breasts bouncing more like buttocks, and with buttocks like two white sows jammed in a sty door are no dug aisles for Bowdy's cock. Well then. That was a different version, was it? Is there something supposed to be showing other than the closed book? Not at this point. Because we're reading off of the internet at the moment. Yeah, the book is effectively for show. This is the one we've been reading up till this point. Nor tigre tarts with rubber backs, switches for tits, and neon blood, hurling the beds. Their silk in shrieks can ever come at Bowerhood. All iced wedding cakey dolls, molten and May bubbling vat, gulped before their sugar cools, sicken birds, ostrich gut. And the fox slut who still scrubs at Karen with her brush, demanding down the marriage aisle, can make blood bawdry blush, not in down-trousered Sullivans, nor vomitarial gluttony. Bard's needle nakedness has this diamond in its eye. Time was tally favour struck this town, where was not one cramped street, but stroked itself to trembling curves when he glanced at it. Tail fever was a border good, raging delicate beast. He trod this town a calendar to find his borderist. That's a bizarre word. Bawdrist. Borderist. Tomcatting over walls and tiles, his bared weapon blazing, as if fire drake through the dark dragged him by the waist. The lily virgin at the prairie, who heard the roof shake and ran to draw the blind, fell deflowered at his look. Till brought a day and dark a day, his palate picked out, and promiscuous butchery sweet undercut. Born Bawdistai. Yet born Bawdistrai in all England never came better. Heaven itself blazed in her bush. Jesus. Tail fever got her. From what dog dish or crocodile's rotten larder she had come, the questioned none. It is enough that she is, and I am. They caught each other by the body and fell in a heap. A cockerel there struck up a tread like a captain's whip, and so they knit, knotted, and wrought, braiding their ends in, so fed their radiance to themselves they could not be seen. And there open a miracle, each became lens, so focused creation's heart, the other burst in flames. Bawdry, steadfastly they great protagonist died face to face, with bellies full in the solar waste, where there is neither skirt or coat, and every ogling eye is a cold star to measure their solitude by. How bizarre. Yeah, I probably should have read that through first. We're a mature channel, and I'm saying this is the reason why. Very intriguing. Now, do I go for these ones? Pain, grief, sadness. A short one from the 13th century here by they don't know who. How long the night. It is pleasant, indeed, while the summer lasts with the mild pheasant's song. But now I feel the northern winds blast, severe weather strong. Alas, alas, this night seems so long, and I, because of the momentous wrong, now grieve, mourn, and fast. In my opinion, this is one of the very best show. You little bastard. Never mind. That was the cut-off. Mourn and fast. That was it. The in my opinion bit, that's whoever put this in just added that afterwards. Ooh, that annoys me. Now I've got one more lined up. If you lot don't provide something else, I might either find something that I recall from past, or to simply go to the book. Quite happy to do either. There. Alright, that's entirely irrelevant. So this is due to the fact that myself and Fel were discussing this earlier on today, and we were talking about the quote, cry havoc, and let slip the dogs of war. Because she very much memorized that due to the fact that it gets bastardized so frequently. So I thought, why not? We'll read the spoken speech by Anthony in Act 3, Scene 1. I'm more than happy to either go into depth about these or simply read out plays, such as William Shakespeare's early works. I'd quite happily do that. I was actually downstairs having my dinner earlier on, and my grandfather and my grandmother's copy and my great-grandfather's copy of the complete works of William Shakespeare are both on the shelf. I'd be quite happy to read those out. I think it would be tremendous good fun. As promised, though, cry havoc, spoken by Anthony. Oh, pardon me, thy bleeding piece of earth, that I am meek and gentle with this butcher's Thou art the ruins of the noblest man that ever lived in the tide of times. Woe to the hand that shed this ghastly blood. Over thy wounds now do I prophesy, which, like dumb mouths, do ope their ruby lips to beg the voice and utterance of my tongue. A curse shall light upon their limbs of man, domestic fury and fierce civil strife shall crumble all the parts of Italy. Blood and desecration shall be so in use, and dreadful objects so familiar, that mothers shall but smile when they behold their infants quartered with the hands of war, all pity choked with custom of fell deeds, and Caesar's spirit raging for revenge, with 8 by his side come hot from hell, shall in these confines with the monarch's voice cry havoc, and let slip the dogs of war, that this foul deed shall smell above the earth, with Charon men groaning for burial. And that one, as I say, was William Shakespeare, writing about Julius Caesar. Offhand, I can't remember exactly which one that's from, but it is a tremendously vapid statement. You can see it, you can feel it, and there is no question of emotion or prompt or anything to that effect, as it is so very blatantly in your face. If we go over here, we shall, I reckon, do a second of Edgar Allan Poe's. When we find poems, there it is, show more. Which one was it that I enjoyed? I can't remember offhand. Can I read Poe from my book? I do not have Poe in my book. I've got English poets. Actually, if I grab that quick. I've got 5 of this one. Due to the fact that they are poems of the English language, I suppose. Ah, I do have Poe. Hold on. That one has Poe. Blake to Poe. Blake's actually a good one. William Blake. Another William. Lots of Williams in poetry. Blake. Robert Burns. Oh, he's a good one as well. Thomas More. George Gordon. John Keats. I've not seen that name in a long time. Or Thomas Hood. Good lord. That was bringing back memories. Barnes. Thomas Davis. Edgar Allan Poe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, before I continue, I will check the next one to see if it's continued over there, because this is rather short, especially for Poe. doesn't look like. Hang on. 5, 3. What? You weren't in order. Right, that one's 5. And that's Tennyson, Yeats. So no, we just have the one that contains Poe. I swear I didn't jump. Hello, Mirror, how are you? We were just about to select another Edgar Allan Poe book from our small pile of books. So what were we doing today? I mean, I'm almost certain that you were doing some excellent art again. Oh, a slight damaging on this book, that's ever so disappointing. Anyway, we were about to go to one of these. The City of the Sea. I think the City of the Sea will be the best one to go with. So we'll go to page 17. There. Edgar Allan Poe, 1809 to 1849. The City in the Sea. Well, I was colouring a friend's D&D OC. Oh, very cool. I must get my characters drawn. They'd be ever so disturbing. I assume since Dungeons & Dragons you probably know about the website Hero Forge, where you can make your customized miniature. It's ever so good. And those are adorable hearts, I like those. Lo, death has reared himself a throne in a strange city lying alone, far down within a dim west, where the good and bad, and the worst and the best, have gone to their eternal rest. There shines the palaces and towers, time-eaten towers that tremble not, resemble nothing that is ours, around by lifting winds forgotten, resigned beneath the sky, the melancholy waters lie. No rays from the holy heaven come down on the long night time of that town, but light from out the lurid sea streams up the turrets silently, gleams up the pinnacles far and free, up domes, up spires, up kingly halls, up fans, up Babylon-like walls, up shadows long forgotten, bowers of sculptured ivy and stone flowers, up many and many marvellous shrine whose withered phrases intertwine the vole and the violet and the vine. Hang on. Yep, that one. Oh, they stuck together. Resigned beneath the sky, the melancholy waters lie. So blend the turrets and shadows there, that all seem pendulous in air. While from the proud tower in the town, death looks gigantically down. There open fans and gaping graves yawn level with the luminous waves, but not the riches there that lie in each idol's diamond eye. not the gaily jewelled dead, tempted in waters from their bed, for no ripples curl, alas, along the wilderness of glass, no swirlings tell that winds may be upon some far-off happier sea, no heavens hint that winds have been on seas less hideously serene. But lo, a stir is in the air, the wave, there is movement there, as if the towns had thrust aside in slightly sinking the dull tide, as if the tops had feebly given a void within the filmy heaven. The waves have now a redder glow, the hour are breathing faint and low, and when amid no earthly moans, down, down that town shall settle hence, hell, rising from 1,000 thrones, shall do it reverence. I think Sing Talk will be kind of frightening. Absolutely, yes, it would. I must admit, I've said it time and time again, and I will continue to say it. I thoroughly enjoy reading Edgar Allan Poe, as it just flows so very nicely. It is somewhat enjoyable simply to read, even when you struggle as I do. Again, to anyone that's unaware, I'm rather dyslexic, so I struggle with my words, which is actually part of why I started this. The more practice I get in, the better I shall be. And it's a small passion of mine, the poetry. I thoroughly enjoy the older written word, hence why the books you see on display here, this one's, 1882, I believe, if I remember correctly, and that's the one we've been reading most lately. 1889, my apologies. But every now and then I will struggle just a touch. I will always do what I can to correct myself. Do we have any other requests or a particular poet we would like to hear tonight? As tonight is very much a what the audience would like. There we are. Much better. Deathly silence forevermore. Until someone mentions something, I think I shall jump to some William Blake. He has quite a few shorter poems. I don't want one quite so short, unfortunately. And that one, The Mental Traveller. I purely pick it because of its length. Page 13. Oh, apologies. Ooh. Oh, I remember how he writes. I travelled through a land of men and women too, and heard the sore such dreadful things as could earthly wanderers never knew. For there the baby is born in joy, and was begetting in dire woe, just as we reap in joy the fruit which we in bitter tears did so. And if the babe is born a boy, he is given a woman old. Who nails him down upon a rock, catches his shrieks in a cup of gold. She binds iron thorns around his head, and pierces both his hands and feet. She cuts his heart out at his side, to make it feel both cold and heat. Her finger number every nerve, just as the miser counts his gold. Miser. She lives upon his shrieks and cries, and she grows younger as he grows older, till he becomes a bleeding youth, and she becomes a virgin bright. Then he rends up his manacles and binds her down for his delight. He plants himself in all her nerves, just as a husbandman his mould, and she becomes his dwelling place and garden fruitful 70-fold. An aged shadow soon he fades, wandering round the earthly cot, fulfilled all with gems and gold, which he by industry had got. And these are the gems, and the human souls, the rubies, the pearls of the lovesick eye, the countless gold of the aching heart, the Merites groan, and the lovers sigh. They are his meat, they are his drink. He feeds the beggar and the poor, and the wayfaring traveller, forever open is his door. His grief is their eternal joy. They make the roofs, the walls to ring, till from the fire on the hearth a little female babe does spring, and she is all of solid fire and gems and gold, that none his hands durst stretch to touch her baby form, or wrap her in a swaddling band. But she comes to the man she loves, if younger or older, or richer or poorer. They soon drive out the aged host, a beggar at another's door. He wanders weeping far away, until some other take him in, oft blind and age bent, sore distressed, until he can a maiden win. And to allay his freezing age, the poor man takes her in his arms. The cottage fades before his sight, the garden and its lovely charms. The guests are scattered through the land, for the eye-altering alters all. The senses roll themselves in fear, and the flat earth becomes a ball. The stars, sun, moon, all shrink away. A desert, vast without a bound, and nothing left to eat or drink. And a dark desert all around. The honey of her infant lips, the bread and wine of her sweet smile. The wild game of her roving eye does him to infancy beguile. For as he eats and drinks he grows younger and younger every day, and on the desert wild they both wander in terror and dismay. Like the wild stag she flees away, her fear plants many a thicket wild. while he pursues her night and day, by various arts of love beguiled, by various arts of love and hate, till the wide desert planted o'er with labyrinths of wayward love, where roam the lion, wolf, and bear, till he becomes the wayward babe, and she a weeping woman old. Then many a lover wanders here, the sun and the stars are nearer rolled, the trees bringing forth sweet ecstasy to all who in the desert roam, till many a city there is built, and many a pleasant shepherd's home. But when they find the frowning babe, terror strikes through the region wide. They cry, "The babe! The babe is born!" and flee away on every side. For who dare touch the frowning form? His arm is withered to its root. Lions, boars, wolves, all howling flee, and every tree does shed its fruit, and none can touch that frowning form, except it be a woman old. She nails him down upon a rock, and all is done as I have told. Good Lord. That is one of the most descriptive life cycles I have ever read. So once again, that is William Blake. And he is, without doubt, one of the greats. I honestly value him higher than Shakespeare, though I know that is a very controversial statement. I think I'll just continue in this book, actually. Who else do we have? Actually, 10. Oh, it's only a short one. The problem is I enjoy doing the longer poems far more than the short ones. Robert Burns, The Jolly Beggar. That's a rather long one, but let's go to that. Although so is the Book of Thale, sorry. Yeah, let's do that one first. That's William Blake, The Book of Thale. We'll then continue with it on the Robert Burns, The Jolly Beggars. So, 25. And once more, I do entirely hope that you are enjoying your time here. Many thanks. Thale's motto. Does the eagle know what is in the pit? Or wilt thou go ask at the mole? Can wisdom be put in silver rod, or love in a golden bowl? The daughters of the seraphim led round their sunny flocks, all but the youngest. She is Pallas, sought the secret air, to fade away like morning beauty from her mortally day. Down by the river of Adon her soft voice is heard, and thus her gentle lamenting falls like morning dew. O life of this our spring, why fades the lotus of the water? Why fade these children of the spring born, but to smile and fall? Ah, Thale is like watery bough, and like parting cloud, like a reflection in glass, like shadows in water, like dreams of infants, like a smile upon an infant's face, like the dove's voice, like transient day, like music in the air. Ah, gentle May, I lay me down and gently rest my head, and gently sleep, the sleep of death, and gentle hear the voice of him, the walking in the garden in the evening time. The lily of the valley, breathing in the humble grass, answered the lovely maid and said, I am the watery weed, and I am very small, and love to dwell in lowly valleys. So weak, the gilded butterfly scarce perches on my head. Yet I am visited from heaven, and that smiles on all walks in the valley, and each morn over me spreads his hand, saying, Rejoice, thou humble grass, thou new-born lily flower, thou gentle maid of silent valleys and modest brooks, for thou shalt be clothed in light, and fed with morning mamma, till summer's heat melts thee beside the fountains and the springs, to flourish the eternal valleys. Then why should Thale complain? Why should the mistress of the valleys of Har utter a sigh? She ceased and smiled in tears, then sat down in her silver shrine. Thale answered, O thou little virgin of the peaceful valley, giving to those that cannot crave, the voiceless, the oriented, o'ertired. Thy breath doth nourish, and the innocent lamb he smells thy milky garments. He crops thy flowers while thou sitting smiling in his face, whipping his mild and meekened mouth from all contagious taints. Thy wine doth purify the gold honey, thy perfume which thou dost scatter on every little blade of grass that springs, revives the milked cow, and tames the fire-breathing steed. But Thale is like faint cloud kindled at a rising sun. I vanish from my pearly throne, and who shall find my place? Queen of the valleys, the lily answered, as the tender cloud, and it shall tell thee why it glitters in the morning sky, and why it scatters its bright beauty through the humid air. Descend, O little cloud, and hover before the eyes of Thale. The cloud descended, and the lily bowed her modest head, and went to mind her numerous charge among the verdant grass. I'm so glad you found this place then. We're currently reading William Blake. O little cloud, the Virgin said, I charge thee, tell to me why thou complainst not when in 1 hour thou fade away. Then we shall seek thee, but not find. Ah, Thale is like to thee. I pass away, yet I complain, and no one hears my voice. The cloud then showed his golden head, and his bright form emerged, hovering and glittering on the air before the face of Theal. O virgin, knowest thou not our steeds drink of the golden springs, where Lofar doth renew his horses? Lookest thou on my youth, and fearest thou because I vanish, and am seen no more? Nothing remains, O maid, I tell thee, when I pass away. It is to tenfold life, to love, to peace and raptures, holy, unseen, descending wait my light wings upon balmy flowers, and court the fair-eyed dew to take me to her shining tent. The weeping virgin trembling knees before the rising sun, till we arise, linked in golden band, and never part, but walk united, bearing food to all the tender flowers. Dost thou, O little cloud, I fear that I am not like thee, for I walk through the valleys of Har, and smell the sweetest flowers. But I feed not the little flowers. I hear the warbling birds, but I feed not the warbling birds. They fly and seek their food. But Thale delights in these no more, because I fade away. And all shall say, without use, this shining woman lived. Or did she only live to be at death the food of worms? The cloud reclined upon his airy throne, and answered thus: Then if thou art the food of worms, O virgin of the skies, how great thy use, how great thy blessing! Everything that lives, lives not alone, nor for itself. Fear not, and I will call the weak worms from its lowly bed, and thou shalt hear its voice. Come forth, worms of the silent valley, to thy pensive queen. The helpless worm arose and sat upon the lily's leaf, and the bright cloud sailed on to find his partner in the vale. Excuse me. Then Thale, astonished, viewed the worm upon its dewy bed. Art thou a worm? Image of weakness, art thou but a worm? I see thee like an infant wrapped in the lily's leaf. Ah, weep not, little voice. Thou canst not speak, but thou canst weep. Is this a worm? I see thee lay helpless and naked, weeping, and none to answer, none to cherish thee with mother's smiles. The clod of clay heard the worm's voice, and raised her pitying head. She bowed o'er the weeping infant, and her life exhaled in milky fondness. Then on Thale she fixed her humble eyes. O beauty of the valleys of Her, we live not for ourselves. Thou seest me, the meanest thing, and so I am indeed. My bosom of itself is cold, and of itself is dark. But he that loves the lowly pours his oils upon my hand, and kisses me, and binds his nuptial bonds around my breast, and says, Thou, mother of my children, I have loved thee, and I have given thee a crown that none can take away. But how this is, sweet maid, I know not, and I cannot know. I ponder, and I cannot ponder, yet I live and love. The daughter of beauty wiped her pitying tears with her white veil, and said, Alas, I knew not this, and therefore did I weep. That God would love a worm, I knew, and punish the evil foot. The wilful bruised its helpless form, but that he cherished it with milk and oil I never knew, and therefore did I weep. And I complained in the mild air because I fade away, and lay me down in the cold bed, and leave me shining lot. Queen of the Vales, the matron Clay answered, I heard thy sigh, and all thy moans flew o'er my roof, but I have called them down. Wilt thou, O Queen, enter my house? 'Tis given thee to enter, and to return fear nothing. Enter with thy virgin feet. The eternal gates, terrific porter, lifted the northern bar. Thale entered in and saw the secret of the land unknown. She saw the couches of the dead, and where the fibrous roots of every heart on earth infectious. That is a very bizarre word. Of every root on earth infectious deep its restless twists, a land of sorrow and of tears, where never smile was seen. She wandered in the land of clouds through valleys dark listening, dollars of lamentations waiting oft beside a dewy grave. She stood in silence listening to the voices of the ground, till to her own grave plot she came, and there she sat down, and heard the voice of sorrow breathed from the hollow pit. Why cannot the ear of close to its own destruction, or the glistening eye to its poison of a smile? Why are eyelids stored with arrow ready drawn, with 1,000 fighting men in ambush lie, or an eye of gifts and graces showering fruits and coined gold, with the tongue inspired with honey from every wind? Why an ear a whirlpool fierce to draw creations in? Why a nostril wide inhaling terror, trembling and affright? Why a tender curb upon a youthful burning boy? Why a little curtain of flesh on the bed of our desire? The virgin started from her seat, and with a shriek fled back, unhindered, till she came to the valleys of Her. And that is the end of that one. Once more, that was William Blake, The Book of Thale. We shall be continuing with Robert Burns, 1759 to 1796, The Jolly Beggars Cantata. Bizarre. As ever, I hope you are all well Do not forget to stay hydrated. When lad leaves bestows the yard, are waving like the bucky bird, bedham could Boris blast, when hail stands drive wi' bitter skate, and infant frost began to bite, in hoary cranch dressed, I not at ein a merry caw, Orrenden gangrel bodies in posy Nancy held this blore, to drink their dodies, we quaffin' and laughin', they rented thy sang, we jumpin' and thumpin', the very grindin' rang. Do you not wish me to continue this one? Because I will continue in that accent as it is written. That is by far the easiest way to read it, and I know that's not the easiest way to listen to it. So it is quite up to you whether we do or not. I will be stuck in that accent if I read this. And it is purely how it is written. So I will very much leave that to you for the moment. Do let me know if you wish it read. Read something with a Scottish accent. It's not like I'm trying to go at the accent, I do very much promise that. So you wish me to continue? Very well. Sorry, just a light stretch. I'm getting a little stiff as I read. So from where we were, first nearest the fire in ordle red rags, and set wheel bracket, we mainly bags and knapsacks. Nor his doxy lay within his arms. We unsquake, usquabe, unblanket swarm. She blinked on her sword, and he gazed the torsy drab, the titleth skilpin kiss, while she held her in her greedy gab. Just like an Amish dish. Amwis dish. Ike smack still, did crack still, just like the cottage's whip. Then straggling and swaggling, he roared his daddy up. Tune, soldiers, joy, hold on 1 moment, please. I need to check something quickly. It's 32 to 44. Okay, continued. I am a son of Mars, who have been in many wars, and show my cuts and scars wherever I come. This here was for a wench, and that other in a trench, when welcoming the French at the sound of the drum. Laddie Dundle, etc. My partnership I passed, where my leader braved his last, when the bloody die was cast, and the heights of Avon I shoved. Out my trade, when the gallant game was played, and the morrow low was laid
at the sound of the drum. I lastly was the Curtis among the floating batteries, and there I left the witness, an arm and a limb, yet let my country needs me. With Elliot, to heed me, I'd clutter on the stumps and sound of the drum. Now thou I must beg, with a wooden arm and leg, and many a tattered rag hanging over my brum. I'm so happy with my wallet, my bottle and my collet, and when I used it, scarcely to follow a drum. What thou with a horror's lock, I must stand the winter shock, beneath the woods and the rocks, often more for a home. When the toothed beg I sell, and the toothed bottle tell, I could meet the troop of hell at the sound of the drum.
He ended the cabra shook upon the curious roar, while frightened Rodimus backwards leak, and the Sikh and Benemonst bore a fairy fiddler frae the neck, he scared out and gore. But up arose the mortal croak, and laid the loud uproar, ere tune soldier lady. I once was a maid, though I cannot tell when, and still my delight is in propping young men. Some one of a troop of it. Sorry, what? Hold on. I once was a maid, though I cannot tell when, and still my delight is in proper young men. Someone of a troop dragoons was my daddy. No wonder I'm fond of such a lady. Sing la la, sing la da. Oh, that's actually rather amusing. The first of my loves was a swaggering blade, to rattle the thundering drum was his trade. His leg was so tight, and his cheek was so ruby transported, I was the sodgy lady. But the godly old champ left in the lurch. The sword I forsook for the sake of the church. He ventured the soil, and I risked the body. 'Twas then I proved false in my sodgy lady. Full soon I grew sick of the sanctified sot, and regiment at large for a husband I got. For the gilded spontoon to the fife I was ready. I asked no more, but a sodger loddy. But the peace it reduced me to beg in despair, till I met my old boy at Shunningham Fair. His rags regiment, they fluttered so gaudily, my heart it rejoiced at my sodgy lady, and now I have lived. I know not how long, and still I can join in a cup or a song, but whilst with both hands I can hold the glass steady, here's to thee, my hero, my sodgy lady. Poor Mary Andrew in the nook sat guzzling with a tankle hizzy. They mindn't na way with the curious take. Between themselves they were see busy. At length we drink, and curtain dizzy, he so tottered up and made a face, then turned on lady,
and smack on Gracie. Sein turned his pepe we grace grumnets. Sir Wisdom's a fool when he's foul. Sir Knarv is a fool in a season. He's there, but a patience I throw. But I am a fool by profession. My granny, she brought me a birk, and I held away to the school. I fear my talent mistook. But what will ye heave of a fool? For drink I would venture my neck a hazes, a half o' my craft. But what could ye other expect of an there's often, avoidly daft? I once was tied up like a stake, from siveling, swirling, and quaffling. Aye, ance was absurd. Aye, the kirk. For Torslins lays aye my dafflin. Poor Andrew that tumbles from spot, let nane body nane we a jeer. There's even a told, aye, a court. A tumbler card, the primer. What? I know exactly what's going on, but it's absolutely, utterly bizarre. Observed ye, you revealed lad, make face to tickle the mob. He rules at our Mutton Bank squad, its revileship just aye the job. Now my conscience, I'll tell the faith. I'm confidently dry, and a child that's child that's a fool for himself. God, Lord, he's far dafter than I. The next outspake, and Rachael's Carlin, we can't fu whistle to click the sterling for money a purse she had hooked, and had in many a well been ducked. Her love had been a Highland lady, but weary far the way fae woody. We sights the sobs and thus begun to wail her brood on a Highlandum. A Highland lad and love was born, the Leyland laws he held in Scotland. But he was faithful to the clan, my gallant bro John Highlandman. Sing hey, my bro John Highlandman. Sing ho, my bro John Highlandman. There's not a lad in the land was much for John Highlandman. Don't worry, I'll drink shortly. With the fill bag of tartan plaid and guide claymore down by his side, the ladies' hearts he did trapen. My gallant bro John Highlandman, sing hey, etc. We arranged a tweed to spay and laved like lords, and ladies gave for Leyland face, and fierce none, my gallant bro John Highlandman. They banished him beyond the sea, but ere the bud was on the tree, adown my cheek the pels ran, embracing my John Highland's man. But oh, they catched him at the last, and bound him to the dungeon fast. My curse upon thy every word. They hangin' my brow, bro John Highlandman. And now, widow, I must mourn thy pleasures that will ne'er return, no comfort by hearth can, when I think of John Highlandman.
Yep, let's take that drink, shall we? Both of them.
A pygmy scrap, we his fiddle were used to taste the fair and treadle. He strapping lave and coarse nail. He reached no higher. I'd hold his breath like a riddle and blow it on fire. We hand on haunch and upward eye. He crooned his grunt 1, 2, 3, then in an arso key. This we Apollo set off we alligator glee. His giggy solo.
Wow, this is bizarre.
Tune whistle aware the love ought. Let me rake up to dirt that tear.
Terribly sorry, excuse me.
And go we, me to be my dear, and then your every care and fear may whistle away lovers oft.
Oh, hang on, that's an entire song just there.
I am the fiddler to my trade, and I the times that ere I played, the sweetest still thy wife of maid was whistling away the lave oft. At Cairns the wedding was, and there, oh, I see Nancy wheel fair, well bouse about till daddy care, sing whilst aware the love aught. I am, etc.
Oh, that's the chorus, right, I get you.
So merrily the banes will pike, and sun our sails about the dike, and at the leisure when we like, we'll whistle away the lavid art. But blessing me with your heaven no jars, and while I kittle hair on thyramus, hunger could and sick harms, my whistle aware love it.
This is incredibly tricky to read. I will very much point that out. I'm not doing this accent on purpose. It's forcing me into it by the way the words are written.
Her charms had struck a steady chord, as weel as Borgerscrape. He gets the fiddler by the bard, and through a rustler rape. He swore by was swearing worth to speed him like a pilver, unless he would from that time forth relinquish her forever. The ghastly eye poor Tweedly Dee upon his huckers bounded, and prayed for grace with a fair face. And so the quarrel ended. But though his little heart did grieve, when round a tinket priest her fair and snared in his sleeves, when thus he cried, addressed her. My bonny lass, I worked in brass, a tinker is the station. I've travelled round all Christian ground, in thus my occupation. I've ta'en the gold, I've been enrolled in many a noble squadron, but vain they searched when off I marched to go and clout the Gorin. Despire that shrimp, that withered imp, we us noise and carpin, and take a share with those that bear thou budget and on the apron, and the stop, my faith and hope, and by that dear alive, if e'er you want or meat we scant, may I ne'er and wheat my keg, and by the street, etc.
Good Lord, this is
Very tricky. The Cadi prevailed, the unblemished fair, in the embrace sunk, partly wheel of Aircombe. Sea sere, and pertly she was drink, surveiling with an air that showed a man of spunk, wished unseen between the pair, and made the bottle clunk to their health that night. But unchain Cupid shot a shaft, and that paid a dame a shave. The fiddle raked her fore and aft, behind the chicken cave. Her lord away to Homer's craft, though limbing way the spave he harpened up the lap like draught, and shore them dainty Dave, or boots that night. Good Lord! He was care defiling blade, as ever Buccaneers listed, thou fortune sane upon him laid, his heart she ever misted. He had no wish but to be glad, no want but when he thistled, he hated naught but to be sad, and thus the muse suggested he sang that night. Tune for aye that han, aye that I am a bard of no regard, weak gentle folk on aye that, but home is like the glowing bike, frae town a drown that. Good Lord. For aye that and twice as muckle as I that I've lost, but I've twa behind. I've wife enough for aye that I never drank the muse stank, castles burn and I that. But there it streams, the Rachel streams, my Helcom I ca that, for aye that etc. Good Lord, hold on, I'm actually going to try to do that chorus correctly, quickly. Fray that and twice as muckly as that I've lost but once, I've twa behind, I've wife enough for that. I never drank the muse stank castle Lisbon, and that no, not done that correctly. That's incredibly hard. A great love I bear to the fair, that humble slave, and that. But lordly will I hold it still, a mortal sin to throw that. In rapture sweet this hour we meet, we mutual love, and that. But for how lang, that flea may sang, let inclination law that their tricks and craft have put me daft, they turn me in that. But clear your decks and have but clear your decks and here's the sex. I like the jades for that, and twice as muckle as that, my dearest blood, to do them good. They're welcome till for that. So sang the bard, and Nancy's was shook with the thunder of applause, re-echoed from each mouth. They toned their pucks and pounded their duds. They scarcely left the core their foots, to quench their lone drunks. Then o'er again the joyful throng. The poet did request to lose his pack and wail a song, a ballad, oh the best. He raising rejoice between his twa dove to praise, looked round him and found them impatient for the chorus. Tune, jolly mortals, fill your glasses. See the smoking bowl before us, mark our jovial rag and ring, round the round take up the chores, and in the raptures let us sing. A fig is thus, fig for thus, by law protected liberties a glorious feast. Courts and cowards where redirected churches built to please the priest. You can say it. What is title? What a treasure? What is raption's care? If we lead a life of pleasure, 'tis no matter how or where. With a ready trick and fable round a wander all the day, and at night, in barn and stable, hug our dozes on the hay. Very well. Does the train attend carriage through the country light a rove? Does the sober bed of marriage witness bright sense of love? Life is all variacum. We regard not how it goes. Let them cant about decorum who have characters to lose. Here's the budget's bag and wallets. Here's to all the wandering trains. Here's our ragged brats and carlets. One and all cry out, Amen. A fig follows by law protected liberties a glorious feast. Court for cowards where erected churches built to please the priests. And that's the end of that one. Good heavens. That was the most sing-songy poem I have ever read. And it was tremendous fun. When did you send... Here, wasn't it? Here. And that one. Oh, trust me. That's a harder book to read. And we will do a touch of this one shortly, I reckon. Why did you come away from that one? What? No, you, come here. There we are. Google recommends using Google Chrome, I don't care. Oh, it's angry. We'll get there shortly. Alright, for a temporary moment, I shall not be able to see the chat. It zoomed in too far now. So this one I am going to read out and simply give you the year it was written for now. Possibly at a later date I will let known whom wrote it, but not today.
Oh, my love is the title. Oh, how I love thee, my sweet that has love for me. I wish for you to see with the eyes with which I see thee. Oh, doth thou not see for what I see, that which you bestow upon me? Thou giveth with naught the thought as to what one may do for you. Oh, how I envy you in such majesty you hold yourself, though thee giveth freely to many an undeserving foe. Thee giveth to me, thusly he receiveth me, freely and completely. My love for thee shall last till thee be in the heavens above. Shan't my love cease for thee? Nay, not for the earth nor thy Lord above. I pledge myself to thee and thee alone. Taketh my love, and use at whim. Forgive my floundry, for when I think of thee, my mind doth wander gaily in perverted lust for thee. Forgive my tongue that doth fail me, for thee has a spell upon me. I beg thee, never free me from thy spell. Thy witchcraft doth fill my mind and occupy my time. Let me linger upon your strings, and play me as a puppet upon thy love's spell. That was written in the year 2016. It doesn't sound like it was, does it? Let's find another one to read. Let's go with that one. Within mine love's eyes my mind doth frolic gaily and free. It skips and prances with thine in mine hands. Thine by my side, thy love with mine love's eyes. There is naught less than transparent love for each of our beings. My darling, frolic with my mind, taketh me to thine place of wonder, maketh my heart flutter with thine arms, as I, my dear, shall yours. With mine eyes, thine wear a halo most befitting, most beauteous, and above all else, most pure. With mine eyes, thine bear wings most grand, and soar above all the detritus and malice within our world. I beg my love, taketh me, soar with me within thine arms. Lastly, I ask thee carry mine heart to safety with him. Thine. You're most welcome. I am going to do a touch of this one now, because this one is very much like the last that was from the book here, and forces me into an accent. This one is from... I can't see it yet. There. So the first one was 1921. There were reprints then in 23, 26, 29, 30, 35, and 36 twice. So it's rather prolific. But this is the Golden Treasures of Longer Poems. We are not going to complete one today because I highly doubt we have time. Or then we could just start a different one that's shorter. No, we will do The Knight's Tale, that is page 1. There. While, as old stories tell us, there was a dog yammed Thrace of Athens. He was lord of the governor, and in the time such as conqueror, that great was there none under the sun. Full many reich country, and he warned me that with his wisdom and his chivalry he conquered all, and realm of Fanyen, that Wilson I clipped scythes. Many thanks, we do. And waded Hearth and Queen Hyplith, and brought her home with him to his country, with the mock glory and great soul knight, and eke her young sister Emily, and thus with Victoria, and the melody, let I his noble duck to envise ride, and all his host in arms him placed, and cartes, were it not too long to hear, I would have told you fully the manner and woman was the realm of Fenya, by Theseus, and by the cavalry. That is cavalry, actually, isn't it? My apologies. And the great battile for the nonce betwixt Athens and the Amazons, and now beside his optical, and the fair hardy queen of Scythe, and the feast that was at the wedding. Also, wedding is Weddynge in this book. You can see why I'm struggling to read. And the tempest at her home Conye. But all that thing I must as now forbear. I have got what through a large field to fare, and wait by the oxen in the plough, the momentum of the tails and long in aught. I will not stop of all his thought. Let every fell where tell his tale about, and let's see now who shall the sorcerer win. And when I left, I wald, again begin. See, if I was to read this in a way that it wants to be read, so for that last line, and let's see now who shall the sofa win. Super. Who shall the super win? Is what that says. But that's not how it's written. And it would feel wrong to change the wording to try to convey the message more clearly. I can only imagine what's happening to the closed captions right now. This duck, of whom I make mention, that would be Duke, but it's D-U-K. When he was comen almost unto the tomb, in all his wealth and in his most pride, he was war, as the crest his eyes side,
where what there kneeled in the highway, HYE space WEYE. Highway, a company of ladies, toil and tway, each like the other, clad the clothes break. But such a cry and such a woe they make, that in this world no creature living hath heard such another lamenting. Lamenting, and of the Christ in stating, they never would, till they the reins of this bridal hold. What folk do be that at mine horn komen, pardon bara som a fist with crying, quoth Theseus. Have ye so great envy to my honour, that thus complied and cry? Or who hath thee injured or offended? Nay, till it me, if it may be admitted. And why that ye be clad thus all in black? The oldest lady of them all speak, when she had swooned with the deadly cheer, that it was pity for all see or hear, and said, Lord, whom fortune hath given victory, and as I conquered to leaven, not craveth as your glory and honour, but we beseechen mercy and succour. Have mercy on our woe and distress, some drop of pity, though your gentleness upon us, wretched women, let thou fail. For Cart's Lord, there is none of us alive that hath not been a duchess or a queen. Now be we caitiffs, as it is well seen, thanked for fortune and her false wheel, that no estate assureth to be weal. The courteous Lord, to abide your presence. So, to summarize, there's a group of women walking along the highway, and there is a knight going the other way. The knight has stopped to see what they want, and they say, simply wish us well. We're all queens. Oh my god. It's so hard to read. Why am I doing this? Here in the temple of the goddess Clemence, we have been wed, and all this fortnight. Now help us, Lord, since it is thy might. I rich with that weep and wail thus was well wed to King Carpus that died in Thebes, cursed by that day, and all we that be in this array, and make all this lamentation. We leaven all our husbands at the town. So they left all their husbands at the town. While that the siege there about lay, and yet an old crony wail way, that Lord is now the Thebes, the city, fulfilled of ire and inquirity. He for despite and for this tyranny, to do the deed bodies violin of all our lords, which is that that be I slay.
1 moment. Let's grab a bookmark. I must be just a moment. The dog requires some assistance in getting outside. Take a short break, get yourself a drink, something to that effect, and see you shortly. I'll resume the music, by the way. But hello. And you know it said no, I left them in the town. So it was less left them at home and more just while they were out sod off. It's rather ludicrous. I've got myself some water. Lovely. It was more about all of their husbands. Yeah, there was a group of women walking down the highway, wasn't it? Highway simply being, the main road. And considering they were, I'm fairly certain, Scottish, that it would have simply... Oh, actually Scotland was very pagan for a while, wasn't it? Yes. I don't know. No, we shall continue. Thy slave hath all the bodies on an heap ye draw, and will not suffer them by no assent, neither to be why buried. Do I just ignore the Y? There's a Y hyphen buried. Yeah, I'm just gonna neither to be buried nor a brent, but maketh hundreds aid them in despite. And with that word, without more respite, they fellen flat, and cried piteously, Have on us wretched woman, some mercy, and let our sorrows sinken in thine heart. This gentle dog Don from his coarse state, with heart piteous, when he heard them speak, him thought that, sorry, Jesus Christ, his heart would break when he saw them so piteous and so poor, that Holm went of so great honour, and in his arms of them all uphent, and then cometh in full good intent, and swore his oath as he was was true knight, true TREWE. It infuriates me so. True knight, he would do for them as well he might, and on the tyrant crone vanquerous take, that all the people of Grace should speak. How crane was the Theseus I served, and one of the hate is death right well deserved, and right anon without more delay. And right anon without more delay, his banner he displayeth, and took his way to Thebes ward, all his host beside, nor near Athens would he go not ride, nor take his ease full half a day, but onward on his way that night he lay. This is ridiculous. Oh, and the dog's crying again. But she's not to come into my room, so... To each their own. Oh, so hold on, she is crying. I'll just be a moment, please. The dog had scarpered before I got there. I may be stuck in this voice for a trifling time. Shall be amusing. I not doubt that. Sorry for the delay, getting myself to my blanket. Ooh, what was that? Oh, very odd. And sent anon Hippolyte to go, and Emily, him young sister too, unto the town of Athens, for to dwell, and forth he rode. There is no more to tell. The red statue of Mars, with spear and tar, so synth is in the white banner large, that alley the fields glitter up and down, and by his banner was borne his pennon of gold full rich, in which was set to view the Minotaur which that in Crete he slew. Thus rode this Duke. Thus rode this conqueror, and in his host of chivalry the flower, till that he come to Thebes, and all right, fire and field, where whereas he thought to fight, but shortly for speaking of this thing with Crane, with terrible apologies. That was Thebes' king. He fought and slew him mainly as a knight in plain battle, and put his folk to fight, and by assault he won the city after, and rent down both wall and spar and rafter, and to the ladies he restored again the bones of their husbands that were slain, to do what? To do exquise, as was the cause, but it were all long for the devise, the great claymore and the lamenting, with the ladies made at the brain of the bodies, and their great honour, that Theseus, the noble conqueror, doth to the ladies, when they from him went, but shortly, for to tell the men enter, when that was worth Duke, this Theseus hath Christ slain, and Thebes won. Thus still, in the fable he took all night his rest, and died with a country as he list. Also, that was did not die. D-I-D-E. This thing is incredibly tricky to read. Thus, still in the field, he took the night his rest. He did with all country as he list, to ransack in the heap of bodies dead, them for strip of harness of weird. The searches did in business and cure after the battle and discomfort, and so befile that in the heap they found through pierced with many a grievous body wound, 2 young knights lain by and by, both in one coat of arms wrought richly, of which 2 Arctic height the one. Oh no! That sounds like there were 2 kids in there. And the other knight was named Parman, not fully quake, nor fully dead, they were, but by their coat armour, and by their gear, Hanolds knew then well in especial, as knights that weren of the blood royal, the Thebes, and the sistren too I born, and of the heap the search have them torn, and have them carried soft unto the tent of Theseus, and full son he then sent to Athens, for the dwelling in prison properly he would nor ransom, and his duke, when he had thus done, he was shot. No, he took his host, and on he rode, and on with Lal, crowd, and as conqueror, and there he lay in joy, and for the honour, all through his life, what will ye words more, and in toil, in anguish, and in war, and dwell evermore, with gold may profit none, this Arctic, and his fellow Palmen. Thus passeth year by year, and day by day, until it fell once upon the morn of May that Emil, far fairer to be seen than his Lily, than is the lily and the stalk and Jane, and fresher than May with flourish newer, for with the rose colour strove her hue. I know not which was fairer of them two, ere it was day, as she was wont to do. She was arisen, and already died, for May will have no slogger day, and naught. That was the night, by the way. The sesame picketh every gentle hurt, and maketh him out of his sleep stirred, and saith, Arise, and thine observance this maked a mile have remembrance, to do honour to May, and for to rise. I clothed was she fresh for to days. Her yellow hair was braided in tress. The hide her back and yard long, I guess, and in the garden, as the sun uprised, she walketh up and down where she list. She gaveth flowers, party white and red, to make a subtle garland for her head, and as an angel heavenly she sung the great tour that was so ticky and strong. Which of the castle was the chief dungeon? There was the knight's where the prison, of which I told you, and tale shall, was even joyous to the garden wall, whereas the Emily had her playing. Bright was the sun, and clear was the morning, and plain was the whole, and Parman, this woeful prison, as was his wont, by leave of the gale, was risen and roamed in the Cambridge of High, where he could all the noble city espy, and eke the garden full of branches green, in which this male, the fresh and sane, was in the walk, and round up and down this sorrowful prison, this palm goth in the chamber roaming to the fore, and to himself complying to his woe, that he was born full oft he said, alas, and so befile by adventure or curse of our great and squire as any squire, he cast his eye upon Emily, and therewithal he blinked and cried, aye, as that he strange whereunto the heart, and with the cry, our sight anon upon stride, and said, Cozy mine, with Clyde thee, that art so pale and deadly for to see. Who criedest thou? Who hath thee done offence? For God's love, take all in patience. Our promise for it may none other be. Fortune hath given us this adversity, some wicked aspect or disposition of Saturn by some constellation, hath even as this thought against it. We had sworn, so stood the heaven, when that we were born, we most endure it. This is insane. This is the short and plain, this palm on this side, again, cousin Forsyth, of this opinion. Thou hast vain imagination. This prison caused me not to cry. Caused me not for to cry. But I was hurt right now, through my eye, into my heart. That will my bane be. The fairness of the lady that I see yonder in the garden roaming to and fro is cause for all my crying and my woe. So what I'm going to do quickly, and by that I mean I'm probably going to be ending here shortly. I'm just going to sit that here and hope that it actually focuses just a touch, so that you're able to see just what I was reading there, because that is incredibly hard to read. Can I move the light over a touch? That doesn't really help though. Anyway, I will very much be ending here because it genuinely hurts to read for too long in this manner. Oh, hang on. Quick. You are ever so kind, my dear. Twitch. Do we know anyone that's streaming right now? There is a friend. What are you doing? I will run a short advertisement while I try to find something, by the way.
Paycheck will make for plenty of good Christmases and ski trips after you're retired, son. He'd said only an hour or so ago when Tiller was grumbling about missing Santa Kids.
No, I remember you. What about you? Yeah, that's right, you. Copy. Click. And raid. I hope you have had an enjoyable time with me today. I sincerely apologize that I shall not be continuing to my normal ending period, but I'm sure you understand. I do not think I can actually exit this voice any longer. Enjoy our raid and spread love.